Welcome back to today's episode of Unapologetic Living. I am excited to have Suzette. Did I
Hello.
say Hawkfire? Suzette Winona Summers. Suzy
Yeah.
Hawkfire. That's kind of how I remember you as Suzy
Yeah.
Hawkfire.
Yeah, either
Well,
one. Yeah.
do you want me to call you Suzy or
Sure.
Suzette?
Yeah.
Okay.
It,
Well, welcome, Suzette. I'm going to call you Suzette because I like the whole name. Suzy Hawkfire is a healer who works with the consciousness of the body, mind, and spirit to guide clients back to remembering their inherent wholeness and inner radiance. She has been on a conscious spiritual awakening journey from an early age and continues to learn, grow, and live into her soul path. Suzy has been practicing body work for almost 30 years, shamanic work for 15, cranial sacral work for 8 years, and has been facilitating ecstatic dance journeys for approximately 9 years. She believes breath, slowing down, and ceremony are some of the best medicines for the healing in the world. And that's one of the things. Those are all elements that I love about your work. And I remember, we hosted that event that I do not remember what it was called, where we were at Love Yourself in St. Matthews. And we did yoni gazing. It was all women. It was a women's retreat. It was like a
yeah.
women's evening.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it was called For the Love of Pussy.
I think you're right. Yeah. And it was great. And like that, like I almost forgot about it until I was like, oh my goodness. I was laying in a room with a bunch of women and a mirror, a hand mirror, and Suzette. And I'm going to definitely have to bring that up in our conversation today. So, I mean, what a powerful, evening and experience that uh, that type of community and connection and circle can have for an individual. And so I know you're participating in another retreat
Mm-hmm.
with Katie Ward, who was on the show a couple weeks ago, the
Yeah.
Goddess Retreat at Valaterra. And that's another reason I wanted to invite you on because we do have a lot of locals in Louisville listening and maybe people from Southern Indiana. And I know that you're going to be bringing this ecstatic dance and before, not to jump too far ahead, that is specific to, is it releasing rage, feeling it?
Yeah, I mean embodying it, allowing it to move through you. It's the title is Sacred Rage, Ecstatic Dance Journey. So yeah, it's I mean I can talk. I don't know how far you want me to go into it. I can talk more about it, but
Well, before we get too far ahead, first, will you um, explain and describe ecstatic dance for those who have
yeah,
never
of
heard
course.
of it, or maybe they have already been practicing it and it's been called something different?
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, I can only speak to what I facilitate and how I facilitate it. So I'll share a little bit about that. For me, it's really important to weave a collective, safe ceremonial space. So we do that together. I tend to work with the directions, calling in the directions, asking for that. We do that as a group together, and we set intentions and discuss maybe a little bit about um, the focus of the dance. So I tend to have themes for different dances. We do a little bit of something I call a movement lexicon, which is where we get into our bodies and we, start to really move just a little bit, just remembering, oh, I can stretch. Oh, I can sway. I can roll my joints. I have joints, right? Like so often we're disembodied. So it's just a gentle embodiment practice beforehand, maybe 5 minutes. Um, Also let people know that this is a space of non-judgment, non-performance. It's a space to actually feel into your body. And in order to do that, a lot of times we have to slow down. So there's a lot of like at the beginning, a lot of deep breathing and just consciously noticing how your body feels as we slow down and become aware. Like I said, it's not about performance. We're not performing for each other we're really getting in tune with, hey, my body feels like rolling on the floor or stomping my feet or jumping up and down or skipping or laughing or spinning, right? And so often in the outer world, we are kind of told that there are certain constructs of acceptability. And, if you're at the store, maybe waiting in line, this is one of my favorite descriptions. You're waiting in line, and maybe you have like a tight neck, or, you really feel like you just want to stretch up really, and a lot of people, they might feel that impulse, but then they're like, oh, I'm in the grocery store. I can't do that. Or I'm at my child's school. I can't like stretch my legs out. Or, you know what I mean? Like, because it's not acceptable or people will look at me weird or whatever. So, one of my intentions in the sacred space is to welcome people into their own selves, like remembering their own intuition and their own guidance. If you want to do whatever, if you want to yell, if you want to stomp, if you want to scream, do it. If you want to laugh or howl or, you know, I don't know, bark or sing like a bird, whatever, like whatever you want to do. So that's one of the things that I kind of remind everybody. This is a space to explore. And then there's an altar. And there's cards there. There's different sacred herbs like Palo Santo or sage or cedar that people can burn if they feel called to. And all these things allow us to shift the energy, either for ourselves or collectively. So there is the invitation to kind of shift the energy. There's also instruments. So if somebody wants to grab a rattle while they're dancing and rattle, or pick up the feather fan and like clear the energy, or just really like be guided by their own intuition. So I invite that. And then we start with a really slow music, and um, that starts us into the actual dance. Oh, I also paint faces beforehand because I feel like that's like it's an initiation into a sacred space. It's part of creating that like a portal into a different world, right? We're doing this together. People have the option of doing that or not, but that is something I do. And then we start the music really slow and it builds up into faster, quicker. Some of it is celebratory, some of it is, chaotic. I invite people to really shake loose in the chaotic part because that's where we can like really notice what is still stuck in us and like shake it loose, however that is. I mean, a lot of times I'm like, and just getting real funky, really, And and then we come back down to a slower pace and I invite people to connect. And I have a connection practice that I have people look into each other's eyes. Of course, if they don't feel comfortable doing that, they don't have to. And then we close again in circle. We release the directions and we have a ceremonial releasing and um, connection where we share anything that arose in that. I call it a journey because an ecstatic dance journey because I feel like, yeah, I feel like it has a lot of those elements of shamanic journeying. So the invitation, and people don't always get there or people don't want to, embark on that, but there is the opportunity or the invitation to be guided in yourself. Sometimes I'll share words or whatever into your own consciousness. And sometimes people have had connections with loved ones who've passed on or parts of themselves that maybe a lot of people say that their childlike self arises in those dances. Um, for me, sometimes I'll have images of different landscapes or scenery, or like really like just going in energetically and seeing colors or spaces, or elements that I work with. Yeah, and I think that's it. Is that
I mean,
does
yeah, I think that's great. I think it sounds so. A couple of things
Mhm.
came up when you were talking, uh, and it's funny that you said and mentioned, maybe being in the grocery store with the desire, right, that impulse to stretch up and messaging from society or culturally or conditioning from even being in a classroom, wherever, that this movement, that sound are inappropriate or unacceptable. And so today I went with my daughter to get our toenails done. She's heading for Italy on Sunday with some family friends. And I thought that she wanted to go do that. Mine were looking rough. I go like twice a year. And I was like, okay, we'll go on Friday. So we're sitting there and the massage chair is on. They got that like electronic massage. She texts me while I'm there, can you stop being weird? They keep looking at you like you're cray. Because I have a really tight spot on my back where every time that thing would roll up, I was
Mhm.
like, oh, and it's one of those like if anybody touched it, you could come up and accidentally touch it and it would create a response in me. But I was like, no, I said, I don't think so, Madeline. She goes, no, they are looking at you because you keep talking to yourself and making foul sounds in the massage chair. So, but I mean, how many people, especially women, have been taught to like totally contract, retreat, um, keep their mouth shut,
Yeah.
and I know it's not just women. There are plenty of men who feel the same way, and we are so removed from. I mean, even you said just like I can tell you how many people I tell roll your shoulders in a yoga class, and it's like this. I'm like, dude, really try to exaggerate.
Body,
Yeah.
right? Like this
Yeah.
is body. You belong to it. It belongs to you. Like you can do whatever you want with it.
Right.
Within reason, like you don't want to hurt other people, but you know what I mean? Like
Right.
uh we
But
should feel good.
yeah, and just as you were saying, like in the dance journey, there might be some guidance, right, with certain styles of music that you put on that might encourage different types of movement that it really is your dance, your journey to experience and figure out like what is it that my body needs and wants to do. And guess what? It's okay.
Sometimes well, oftentimes if I do, it'll be a question, right?
Hmm.
What does it feel like? If the music's talking about um being a goddess, right? Like, what does it feel like to be a goddess? How does a goddess walk? How does she dance? How does she feel? Like, can you embody that? So it's like we can try on what about like a lion? Like, what is it like to prowl like a lion? Like, and people don't have to do that, but it's an invitation to explore if they're called to.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I love, right? We're all gonna, and you also said some people aren't ready to embark on, maybe they're not ready to embark on dropping down into their lioness or their goddess for whatever reason, but you give them the opportunity, and as you said, a safe container
Mhm.
where it's um, non-judgmental for people to, explore and navigate the way they feel called to with what resonates at that time. And it could be different the next dance,
Mhm. Right. Exactly.
right?
Mhm.
So now at the Dark Goddess retreat, right, we're looking at shadow work and some of our shadows and the parts of ourselves that maybe we don't necessarily want to expose to the world. And I know you're theme is sacred rage. I would love to explore a little bit more about why you chose rage for this particular um, weekend and what that means to you and what you hope the participants can walk away with.
Yeah. Oh gosh. So you said something about, the shadow is the part that people don't, I think, I don't want to get that wrong, but correct me. You said something about that's the part that people don't want to look at or they kind of shy away from. Is that what you said? What did
Yeah,
you?
and I mean, really, Katie said it a couple weeks ago, is, though there are those parts of ourselves that we don't necessarily want to look at, but we also don't want others to see.
And why is that?
Yeah,
Because of shame, right?
yeah.
It kind of goes back to that
Yep.
like that those constructs of what's acceptable and what's not. And when we have shame, there's a part of us that's been told like that's not okay. That's wrong, that's bad. With rage specifically, there's I think there tends to be this fear of it as dangerous, as violent, and when I think a lot of people kind of veer away from rage because it's like anger turned up, right? And
Hmm.
anger's scary anyway because I think in our culture, specifically because when we've tended to see it, it's usually been violent, right? We kind of
Yes.
associate anger with violence. And especially as women, there's that fear because, just historically, there's been a lot of, I mean, it happens with everybody, but like men tend to have gone more, been more violent, right? So I think women have been like, oh, I don't want to be that. I don't want to do that. So, one, a lot of women deny their anger because they want to be okay. They want to be good. They want to be right. They want to be accepted and they don't want to be dangerous. And rage, like I said, it's like taking anger and turning it up. And I don't know about you, but I think a lot of women, when we press down our anger, when we try to be like deny it, press it down, it's like a bottle of soda, right? Carbonated soda that you shake, and it just swells and swells. And when it finally erupts, there can be that rage, and it's scary, especially if it's not channeled in a way that's healthy and productive. And I think all emotions are valid and valuable, especially when we can express them in a healthy way. So the sacred rage, I think Katie chose that theme, but I loved it. Um, and I think it's so valuable because I think, especially with all this Epstein stuff coming up, like a lot of women are finding they're just furious. Like, you're a mom, I'm a mom, like I don't want to, don't
No,
F with.
I hear you. I know the mother clause come out.
Yeah, so like we have this in us and I want to make a space where it's safe to express that and to guide women into that experience, into that expression because it is powerful and especially when it's channeled in a healthy way.
Hmm. Yeah. I know that I um, definitely have felt that mother's rage. Like in school settings, even.
Right.
I remember, and I was just actually telling my daughter-in-law that I remember losing my shit. I mean, I lost my shit in the office of my son's school because of this event that took place. It was, him and three other little boys, and they had taken all the appropriate measures to address the different administrative staff, the PE teacher. They did all of the correct things as
Hmm.
this other child was kind of bullying some kids, like cleating shins. And so this particular day, they decided to provoke the child in hopes to get him in trouble. And what happened was it backfired, and these four boys, my son being one of them, was suspended along with the other three boys. I mean, I walked in there, I was pissed. I was pissed. And I really didn't handle myself in the most eloquent way. And I think that, so it just like came out, I was like, look, you know, this person was talked to, the PE teacher, they went over here, this was never addressed. Now we have this, and our kids are the one being,
Right. Right.
but I like as a mom, I just remember being so angry.
Right.
And I let people, I let them know, but it could have been done in a better way, more effective way, had I had maybe some tools, been able to channel and sit with. And
Mhm.
when you talk about slowing down, in the beginning, right, you do kind of have to slow down to feel what the heck is going on.
Yeah.
I just reacted instead of responded, but I know that, yeah, and then you have this Epstein stuff, and I mean, like, oh, 2 days ago, I was in Houston driving around. These two jackasses come flying by. Meanwhile, I was in my daughter-in-law's car, and there was another car in front of me. And I'm like, oh my God, if I watch one of these fucking assholes slam into my car, I'm telling you, I will fucking lose it. You know what I mean? Like, I know,
Oh,
you're like, it's there, but especially like if women can't tap into feeling that, and if you're a mom, and if you can even gather just that look, right? I think most women can probably find it
oh,
if they
yeah.
think about it long enough. And like like, you can feel me and hear me, like it's coming, like my blood's not my heart, like my, all this stuff is taking place.
And yeah, and as you speak about that, if you push it down, what does it do? It turns inward, creates heart disease, creates digestive issues, right? We were meant emotions are energy in motion. And
Mm.
if we block it, we're turning it back on ourselves. We're keeping that like funkiness inside of us when we can just like let it move through us, and through that movement, like what I've found when we move our bodies and we can like get it out that way, it's like after a dance, there's this like sense of like feeling really clean or clear. I used to do a yoga practice. I don't want to say it because whatever, people have issues with it, but it was one of the first yoga practices that I ever did, and I loved it. And it was a really hot room. It's a series, right? And every time afterwards, I felt so clear, just doing those poses. This dance is similar. You sweat or I sweat. I mean, it depends on the movement of other, if you really get into it, but you can just get a lot of that stuff, let it move through you, and it feels good, and it gives you a different perspective when you're not allowing that energy just to cloud or circle.
Yeah, so would you consider this like, so doing some somatic work?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And then this would be different than going to a club
Right.
because,
Well, for one, like I think there for me, I think ceremony is a really important thing. So it is a sacred space because we are working in ceremony together. It is ceremonial. We are weaving a safe and sacred place. There's no drinking, there's no substances. Um, we're not performing for each other or trying to get attention. I mean, typically that I think club culture is sort of like that, right?
yeah, yeah,
No, no shame, no like,
right.
but it tends to be that way. And the invitation is to go within and to be able to explore maybe your week or your year or your lifetime. So it's a lot of an invitation to introspect.
And right. So I'm just looking at just a little bit of information you shared around the ecstatic dance. Definitely, it's more intentional. I mean, you're right. Many times when you go out, it could be, right? You're dancing to gain attention. It's just not. Um,
Or you're worried about other people looking at you, right? And
well, and I think the first time, like I'm trying to think. I don't know if we did some movement at the retreat or the evening that we shared. I feel like we might
did
have
it
a little
a
bit.
little bit, yeah.
I definitely remember, it was ceremonial. We may have even had cacao. It was around Valentine's Day, actually.
Mm.
It was around, yeah, like in February. But that even, and I don't know where this was, but I just remember the first experience I had with my I don't know if it would be called ecstatic dance, but just sort of a women's embodiment circle, I guess. That even then I was a little bit self-conscious. Like you might still see, like just because it's a ceremony doesn't mean some of these insecurities and fears don't come up.
Mhm. Yeah.
Even if you know, right? You know this is not performative. We're not trying to impress. You're trying, you do. I think which is why being in that safe space, but it
Mhm.
doesn't mean like you just walk into the safe space and you're just going to let go and like jump around and skip or do any of those things.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. And it is interesting though. So many people afterwards have come to me and been like, I wasn't so sure of this, but I felt freer than I've ever felt before. And we're all on our own journey. So some people, yeah, it might take longer or never, for them, like, and this might not be the medicine for them. There
Mhm.
is the invitation to kind of slowly, like, close your eyes or like have a soft gaze. So you're not like, I don't know, that helps me not be as self-conscious
Mhm.
because, that's part of our egos. Our egos are like, oh, are they looking at me? Do I look weird? Whatever. But I heard somebody recently talking about ecstatic dance and I loved it. It was like there were four stages of ecstatic dance. The first one is like you're kind of swaying back and forth and you're like, "Oh God, what did I get myself into?" And then the second phase is like, "Oh my gosh, I can like put my arms up and take up space." And the third one was like, oh my God, I feel freer than I've ever felt before. And the fourth one is like, I'm like communing with ancestors, right? Like, so like those are, and I loved it because I was like, that is it. Like, to me, that's been my experience. You don't always get to that place. You don't always get out of the first stage, but there is that hope and that invitation to go further. And um, yeah, and any payoff that you get also requires you to pay a risk, right? There's a risk. So some people are more willing to take a deeper risk.
Absolutely. And some are ready to go further and further on that healing journey and ready to peel back the layers that are keeping them sort of bound. So I'm curious what I also when you were talking about the painting faces, if you I don't know, you may remember you did that beautiful peacock on that belly cast of mine.
Gosh, I forgot about
I
that.
know when you said that, I was like, oh yeah, she did that. And I still have it.
That was a long
But
time ago.
and that's another like really cool thing. You've been doing this ceremonial, I would say, right? Like the mother's blessing. You've been doing this work for so long. Like when did you weave in ecstatic dance? What brought you to it? Like
Yeah.
where like a little bit more of like your journey to this point would be awesome.
Oh, yeah. So I first got in contact, like learned about Gabriella Roth. Um, Gabrielle, she did five rhythms. She's like well known for five rhythms. It's like one of the like things that first started ecstatic dance. I
Okay.
don't know. And that was in the, I would say like around, it was around the same time that I started doing body work. It was probably like 97. Um, and I started listening to her. I was really inspired by the idea of what she was doing. I really liked the idea. And then at this, around the same time, I also remember watching, I don't know, documentaries on trance dancing in Africa.
Mm.
And I was like, wow, I'm like, that's so powerful and important. And I guess, I mean, from an early age, there was like an ancient calling, like wanting to get back to like the roots, I
The
don't,
ancient wisdom, the ancient ways.
yeah.
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 Hmm.
And so that was in, like I said, 97, and I was really interested in it and intrigued by it. I've always loved moving my body, and dancing myself. And then I guess it was in 2016, maybe. Um, I started just, I was like, I wish, I wish Louisvillians could like wake up. Like, I feel like everybody's kind of walking in boxes, like they're definitely like progressive. There's a lot of people that are progressive, but it still feels so like rigid and people are like stuck in their ways. And I talked to my friend Holly Clark, and
Hmm.
we were talking and we were like, let's do an ecstatic dance. I had gone to one of what's his name? Doug Van Houten. He had one. And it was interesting. But I don't know. I was wanting something different, right? So I I was envisioning something different. Holly and we like I feel like we're both sort of mystical women.
Hmm.
And I was starting, I had been like learning more about shamanic journeying and practicing that. And so I did a journey, I think it was at the park, and I did a journey connecting with my spirit guides and, asking for guidance there. And that's where like I began on like how to do this, what it's going to look like, how I want to kind of frame it.
Hmm.
And Holly and I worked together for a little while, and then she stopped. I don't know, like I love Holly. Holly sometimes she flows in and out of things. But yeah, and I just kept going with it. So because like in the main intention for me was to remind people that they're sovereign, that they can move how they want. They can use their voices. I mean, and it's everything, right? It's making artwork, it's singing, it's crying, it's laughing, it's, dancing, all these making music, like all of these things are our birthright. They're part of being human. And I think because of capitalism, that's what I believe. Like capitalism has really created this thing where like only, good people that can sing beautifully and get on stage are considered singers. Or, you have to have a certain body to be able to dance, and be on a, and it always has to do with being on a stage and, whatever.
Hmm.
And no, in my opinion, like this belongs to everybody. I really like circles, um, because circles, in a circle, there's nobody at the head.
Hmm.
We're
Hmm.
all equal, right? We're all included. So I prefer circles. I like using circles. I also do a sistering circle once a month at Mother Tree, and I forgot to mention that, but that's something that um, I think is really valuable right now as
Hmm.
women are, yeah.
Yeah, I like the circle too, and singing like dancing. I think in another episode I shared like the dancing piece has been more difficult for me. Um, and you hear these messages, and whether or not they were intended to be mean or not, my kid's father would be, you dance like a white girl, right? And so you hear these things. And he didn't say this was, but when at another event that I've been hosting with Robin Alexovich and Corey
Mhm.
Lockhart, she brings singing and we explore the voice a little bit. But how many people have been told their voice isn't good or they have no business singing? And, or, who sings this song? That joke, who sings this song? Let them do it. You know what I mean? Like, so many of us have heard these messages.
And it's mean. And I think it comes from a patriarchal system that wants to kind of hold people down and, like put you in your place, like silence you,
Yeah.
make you smaller,
Yeah.
make you not ex because we're powerful.
Right.
We're powerful when we express ourselves through artwork, through dance, through music, through singing, through ourselves, being human.
Mhm.
And I think that's like very disempowering. And it's because they want to control and it's mean and it's not nice. And I'm sorry that was done to you. I don't like that.
No, but you know what I'm, and like I know, I
I
mean,
know, I do know what
but
you mean.
but I have been moving through it. Um, but I can still feel that, like creep in, even at dance class, because I'm like, I'm gonna go learn bachata
Mhm.
and salsa, and but I don't have to go do that.
Right.
Right? But it's like, well, maybe if I do that, I'll be good enough or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I know, and whatever it is, whether it's art or, as you mentioned, dancing, singing, sculpture, anything, like really being able to
Even healing, right? Even healing
absolutely, yeah.
in art,
It is.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's a gift, and we all, as you said, it's a birthright. To experience and explore all these elements of our body and our being.
Mhm.
And so, I want to see what would be your hope for the women at the retreat after I mean, obviously they're coming for quite a few different modalities, and so like, I guess maybe more broad, like the whole retreat, but then also the experience they get to have with you.
So I think when I thank you for being so vulnerable with me and sharing about that. I think that's where we develop relationship.
Hmm.
When we're honest with each other, when we allow ourselves to be witnessed and we witness others, it creates, we need vulnerability to do that, and that vulnerability develops trust. And that's how create community is created.
Hmm.
So my hope is that these women will feel a deeper sense of community. They're not alone. Oh, look, she's angry too. Oh, look, she's sad too. Oh, look, she has this wound too. So often we've been separated and divided and kind of um, our culture tends to be so individualistic and so full of shame to control us that we don't show what's inside of us. And when we can open to each other and witness each other, yeah, community is built and deeper relationships. So I think the hope for the Dark Goddess retreat is that they will feel seen and heard and witnessed, and they will be a witness. And specifically in my offering, my portion of it, I hope that they get a sense of community there and freedom. Like, wow, I can yell or I can stomp my feet. It's okay for me to be angry. There are things to be angry about. And that anger is powerful and it has a purpose, right? Like to me, anger is about setting boundaries. If we're angry about something, we're saying no. you can't do this anymore, and when we use that anger, whether it's to be like, I don't know, holding back a dangerous person or animal, that's to me, that's valuable. Being able to conjure that energy up. So to know, yes, this is useful. It's not bad. It can move through my system. And I want to see other people too move that anger or that rage or that energy because, yeah, because we're all human and we all have these emotions and it's perfectly natural. And that's where we find our power, right? That's where we find our power when we can
Yeah,
tap.
I love that, and I agree. You said something about rage. Too often, I think we equate rage to violence, and that's not always the case. And I think it is time to, bring awareness or, reframe like, and when, especially as women, we really have so much power in making the shifts with just the people in our lives, and then that radiates out and out and out, right?
Strong
Yeah,
energy.
strong energy. And so I love that you are bringing this portion, this offering to the ladies at the Dark Goddess Retreat. But I also want to just make sure, so you have your sister circle. I would love to make sure people can find you. I know you don't, I mean, you do more than just ceremonial sister circles. You have other offerings, right? And you
Yeah,
have a
yeah.
website and social media. I know you have wonderful wisdom. I mean, I've caught it sometimes on TikTok, sometimes it's on Instagram. Like I've caught it, and you'll come on and just share a little bit of a daily insight. Um, where can and like what else do you bring to the world?
Yeah, I have a private practice where I do cranial sacral work. I do shamanic healing work. That's a deeper, energetic, emotional, somatic work. I work one-on-one with clients in that capacity. I am on Instagram at Sacred Wild Healer, TikTok at Sacred Wild Healer, and my website is SuzetteWinonaSummers.com. And I also have a link tree that has upcoming events and it has ways to schedule with me, etc.
Now, is the link tree found on Instagram or is it also found on your website? And
Yeah,
it
both.
is Winona WI or WY?
WI
Okay.
SetteWinona.com.
Thanks. Yes. And all those show notes all those links will be in the show notes below.
Okay.
So like
Cool.
what one message, what's one message that you have to share for those who, I guess in regards to unapologetic living their most unapologetic life? What little nugget of wisdom do you have?
You are worthy. You are worthy to shine and to express yourself and to be your most radiant self. Yeah, we all are.
And so and I'm going to add to that question.
Oh,
Ha,
yeah.
how for those who really struggle with that, what tool have you found best? And maybe it's the dance, maybe it's the movement to help you embody and really believe that you are worthy or I am worthy message.
So, for me personally, a lot of times those unhealthy programming messages, they're kind of they're a result of trauma, like, somebody said something and my nervous system just goes into the automatic place. And for me, the best way to kind of break through that is through breath. I always say to my clients, breath is the first medicine. And so I do this a lot. Like if I'm driving, if somebody really upsets me, if I'm feeling self-conscious, insecure, uptight, whatever, I take a deep breath. I hold it and let go. I exhale as slowly as I can. And I feel myself come back into my body. I often close my eyes and I connect to that part of me. I guess, maybe getting back to that part or remembering it. And you can do that through, lots of different ways. I've found like the shamanic healing is helpful because a lot of times you make your own medicine in there and maybe an image or something to hold on to that kind of connects you to a feeling that you want to carry with you, right? Maybe that is worthiness or love or radiance or freedom and allowing yourself to really, oh, I want to remember that I'm okay. So kind of what's it feel like to be okay? Um,
Mhm.
again, slowing down, breathing, and that breath is helpful. I use it a lot just to one to regulate my nervous system, two to release. I use it also. I visualize a release of any of the stuff that people try to throw at me, right? Or I feel like they're throwing at me, and I'm like, nope, that's not me. You know, it's important to also like reflect, self-reflect, but a lot of times it's not me, right? So just allowing it to kind of pour off of me and remembering who I am at my truest, purest level. It's not this Suzette, it's not Suzy, it's that still voice, that's love, I believe.
Mhm.
And I am you and you are me, and I believe that. Yeah,
Yeah,
namaste, right?
yeah,
Light
yeah,
reflects the light in you, respects it. Yeah.
yeah. I love that. Well, I'm so glad you joined me today.
Me too. Oh,
Thank you. I know I haven't seen you like your face in a while other than on the
I,
on the internet.
I know. And you brought back so many memories. I
Well,
just love
well,
that.
I'd almost forgotten. It's like you don't forget, but like things, you're like driving around and that memory will pop up or this. But if it's like, yes, I was thinking, oh my gosh, we did that Yoni event. And then when you were talking about the painting, I was like, oh my gosh, she did. And I had just been talking about having and I knew it was I'd just been talking about having the belly cast done because my daughter-in-law is pregnant. But and I knew it was, but
I'm
I just like, and I knew you did it, but it was just like hit me today, when
yeah,
you were talking about the painting. I'm like, oh, Suzette did that, and
that's so
because I want to show her. I want to send a picture. I need to send a picture of it to her. Now that was with my daughter, but see, this is the funny thing. I was still so uncomfortable in my body when my son was born. I mean, I was and wasn't, but I had someone, I don't even know who it was. I'm sure you probably knew who she was. I cannot remember her for the life of me. I remember she came to the kitchen. Did you do the belly? Did you do just the painting? Or did you do
me.
that?
I don't
But
remember.
did you ever do that? Where
Oh
you went
yeah.
through the, okay, it might have been you the whole time. You might have done the whole thing.
I feel like, did I do your sisters? I feel
You
like,
might have, yes, you painted hers. It's
oh,
green.
okay.
I'm going to
Oh,
have to ask her. I'm going to see her tonight at this eighth grade promotion deal. I'm going to ask her. You did. You're absolutely right. You did my sisters. I have a feeling you probably did the paper mache portion too.
maybe. I don't remember. It
I
was
don't either. And I don't remember. It must have been at my house, um, but I just felt more uncomfortable at 24. And so I did not want anybody to do anything like breast up. And
yeah.
then when you came, I was like, like you just like, again, it's just like getting in touch with, I don't know. It's just interesting. The journey is interesting. And then, so I didn't even end up saving that first belly cast. Um, but I saved my daughters. I figured I really didn't need both of them. But
Yeah.
because I also didn't like that I left the breast off, all because I was like, I don't know if I want, like just whatever.
Yeah. Oh, I love that though.
So
Thanks for sharing that.
yeah, but yeah, that's all. That's it's a beautiful. Yeah, I mean, it's just a beautiful piece of art. And yeah, I'm glad that I remember that. But yeah, you did that. I mean, that was like a hot minute ago too. Like,
Was,
you know,
yeah.
and so it's wild that because she's 20, but I don't know. I think it took me a while to get it painted. Maybe you did Katie's first, but needless to
I-
say, they were both beautiful. And I remember that you did
yeah.
those, yeah, for us. So, you know, I love that you have been a part of so many different things that are kind of like bring the sacredness to an event. Does that make sense? Like, you know,
I mean,
because mothers are often like forgotten.
people.
It's about the baby, right? And so this is like a way to, you know, kind of return to the beautiful birth of a mother. Like there's all these things, right? And I think that in just the whole, a lot of things have been forgotten, especially when it comes to ceremony
Yeah.
and initiation.
Mm.
Um, that you are so, you know, you just do such a lovely job bringing that, like you said, the ancient wisdom back into today's modern crazy
Mm.
world.
Thank you. Right, that means a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you so much. And make sure you guys check out Suzy Hawkfire's website. Suzette, hold on, let me make sure I've got it all. Suzette Winona
Yeah.
Summers.com. Yeah. And then Sacred,
Sacred Wild Healer.
Sacred White Hill on Instagram. And then you're on TikTok too, but you said not as often, but and then you have a link tree.
Yep. Yes. Yes, I do.
Okay. And then I bet I'm going to assume, which I shouldn't, that your sister circle information is probably on your website. But is it on Rebecca's website too? Mother Tree's website
Yeah,
too?
it'll be
Yeah.
on. Yeah, it'll be on Rebecca's website. Yeah, and yeah. So, yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, I do have a Facebook page too.
Oh,
I put
good.
that. Raise the Vibration Ecstatic Dance Louisville. So if they, I always put my events on there. So if somebody's like wants to kind of stay involved and whatever, I have
Okay.
all that stuff. There's lots of stuff. The link tree has it all though. So you can
Okay.
use my newsletter or whatever. So
Okay. Awesome. All right. Thank you.
thank you. Love you. Bye
Love you
bye.
too. Bye bye.